for take 7.
I think the model of success that I inherited had to do very much with an immigrant professional culture. So both my parents are physicians. My mother's a psychiatrist, which explains a whole heck of a lot.
'Cause no doctor's gonna be half as thorough.
Max. But my dad also a general internal medicine doc.
I am ZDoggMD. Can you tell? Hello?
Their vision of success is bust your butt, work really hard, go through the traditional schooling process, and then get a stable job that pays well and work yourself to the bone until you retire. And as I grew up, two parents who were in medicine, it was like, being named Jeeves. I was destined to be a butler. And I loved science and I loved people, and I thought, well, okay, the next thing I knew, I'm in medical school. The more I was in medical training, the more it kind of pushes you into a box. The box was our healthcare system. And when you first go in, you realize how dysfunctional it is because you see it and you're very idealistic. And by the time you come out, you've been in it so long, it's like being in the Matrix. Suddenly you just take it for reality and you fall into a dream. And as part of that dream, you lose a bit of who it was you were when you went in. And so my story started to get subverted by this system that expected me to behave a certain way, act a certain way, even treat patients a certain way with a certain detached kind of professionalism. Half the patients that I was seeing in the hospital didn't need to be there if someone on the outside had just talked to them, gotten to know them, understood what their situation was so they could actually prevent the illness that brought them in the hospital. And all I was doing, it was a necessary role, which was fixing them up and sending them out, but it was a role that should have been irrelevant. And around about 2010 or so, I had reached sort of the depths of a sort of a personal crisis. I think it was an early midlife crisis. Because I had gone into medicine with all the best intentions. I played by all the rules, I checked all the boxes, and then when I arrived at what was supposed to be a fulfilling career, when I looked in the mirror, all I saw was a disconnected, burned out zombie with a stethoscope.
I had realized that I was going to do this for another 20 years until I retired. And my dad was ecstatic because he would tell everybody back in India, Zubin is the Stanford doctor, and he is, making a lot of money, living on the hill, and his wife is a radiologist, and, it's everything we wanted. Whereas I was thinking, whose life am I living? Like, this is not the life. If I go back to my yearbook and see what my dreams were, this was not it. And so always loved music and comedy kind of together. And I remember in 4th grade when Weird Al came out, it was this revelatory sort of thing for me when Beat It was parodied into Eat It. And I remember thinking at the time, I think I wrote it in my yearbook, that one day I'm going to be, the next Weird Al, which was crazy talk.
I realized I had a choice to make. I could either submit to this insane system and retire and do my thing, but have my soul crushed and join the ranks of the swelling physician zombie apocalypse, or I could surrender. Just give up the external validation, drop the mask, and really surrender to who I actually was and have some hope of reconnecting to my purpose. Luckily, there was choice C, which is sit around in my underwears eating Ben & Jerry's and watching YouTube videos all day.
What happened was the way that I sort of tried to find a release from this was I realized that, wow, in the old days, in order to reach people with music or comedy or ideas, you had to have a tremendous amount of talent. In the YouTube era, you did not.
Yeah. ZDoggMD. YouTube. Samix drop the beats.
All you needed was a camera and a Macintosh, and you could create something.
ZDoggMD, board certified to be the #1 doctor on the mic. You won't see another MD like me, an OG who nearly OD'd on med school. It's Dr. Z.
And the next thing I knew, I was editing and uploading, and I'd created this character who was an alter ego of myself, but actually was myself. It was almost a distilled version of the story that I wasn't living. Like everything that I'd taken away from my personality to be this Stanford physician was now distilled in this character of ZDoggMD who could say things as they were. I suddenly felt free. I suddenly felt like I had a voice. And what was interesting is my colleagues at the time were telling me, you're crazy. Like, why are you doing this? You're going to wreck your career. You're going to lose your faculty status when they find out what you're doing. And I said, oh, no one will know. It's this character, ZDoggMD. They can't recognize me. Of course, I wasn't in disguise. Our first few videos were really, really stupid, and yet I had this sort of weird outpouring of love from first the medical community, because some of those videos were about sort of medical pain and how difficult it is to do our jobs. And then we did one called Manhood in the Mirror.
I'm checking out my nads in the mirror. I'll feel my junk for lumps and stuff.
It went crazy. And student health clinics were calling me and saying, you know, we actually play this on repeat in our waiting room, and kids are looking at it going, that's really dumb. And then they're going home and checking their testicles for cancer, and they're actually finding lumps. And I remember thinking, wait a minute, so me in my bathrobe with a camera doing what I'm crazy about, which is making parody songs and trying to educate, was actually affecting people's lives across the country in a way that I felt disempowered to do in my regular job with my 10 years of training and all the student loans and everything. And that's where it really kind of clicked. This is a thing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This was my story and my contribution, a way that I could actually do something with who I am that actually helped people. One day I get a call. It's Tony Shea, I've been watching your videos, and you're absolutely off your rocker crazy. Like, here's something off the rocker crazy that we're doing in Vegas, where I'm investing $350 million of my own dollars to curate the development of a city. Quit your job at Stanford, move your wife and your kids to downtown Las Vegas. I'll give you a little bit of startup money, figure out a way you can stop complaining about medicine and actually do something to make it better. Having unplugged for the first time, I was able to look at the system and go, oh my God, this is the problem. We don't prevent disease, we don't spend time with patients, we don't develop relationships, we don't see their unique story and treat individuals, and therefore we spend money on specialists and urgent care and drugs and procedures. That's where the idea for Turntable Health was born.
So we launched this clinic, and it was our chance to really bring the sort of relationship between people back to the forefront.
Our model is predicated on the idea that medicine is about human relationships. So let's tear the barriers down to those relationships, fix the reimbursement system, take insurance out of primary care. It has no business there. Make it an affordable, flat fee that incentivizes everyone to keep everybody well.
The way we think we can really impact the entire health system is if we get primary care right and we get a bunch of primary care patients in a facility like this, we can start hiring specialists. Then we can start hiring hospital doctors like myself, and then we can bring our culture and our approach and our team-based care throughout to the entire system and leverage it, and people will vote with their feet and realize when you can have health care instead of sick care, you're gonna choose health care. It's been the most insane ride of my life, going from talking about this, complaining about it, to now actually running an operating clinic, hearing the patient stories coming back that are just transformative, and feeling like, oh my gosh, like what we've actually put in motion is changing people's lives. If it went, for example, if it went out of business tomorrow, I would feel like I've done a tremendous thing because of the people we've helped so far, including the providers who work with us, the docs and the health coaches and the nurses. They've been transformed by this. And so whatever happens, they would spread out and change healthcare, each in their own way. To me, ZDogg and Turntable are two sides of the same coin. So being able to have the credibility of a physician and the mouthpiece and the ability to say what I mean with ZDogg is a beautiful combination, because I can spread the word and then travel around the country talking to physicians and engaging them with ZDogg in a satirical way, and then they listen to this story. And so when I speak, a lot of times they tell me, you know, we were expecting this kind of clowny rapper guy and we were wanting that, and then we got this amazing message that inspired us that the future of healthcare may actually be better than what it is now. And they're always amazed. And so to me, that's the secret. It's the Trojan horse to get this message across.
Just gonna stand there and watch me burn. End of life and all my wishes go unheard. They just prolong me and don't ask why. But it's not right, because this ain't the way to die. This ain't the way to die.
I can't tell you what I really want. You can only guess what it feels like. And right now it's a steel knife in my windpipe. I can't breathe, but you still fight, cause you can fight. Long as the wrong's done right, protocol's tight. High off of drugs, try to sedate. I'm like a pin cushion, I hate it. The more I suffer, I suffocate. Right before I'm about to die, you resuscitate me. You think you've saved me, and I hate it. Wait, let me
So this was a song that we've been wanting to do for a long time because it's about such an important issue, end-of-life care. When I floated this idea on Facebook to my fans, they overwhelmingly said, listen, this is a crucial topic. We've all had loved ones, etc., who've been through this. Please do it right and don't make it silly. And for the first time, I had to look at a ZDogg video from a serious angle. I feel like this is the point where ZDoggMD as a thing kind of grows up. The message now, the mouthpiece that we have, comes with a great responsibility to actually treat these topics with the respect and the gravity they deserve. So this is going to be, I think, hopefully a turning point where we can do more serious things and be taken seriously and get that message out when it's important like this.
We're going to have people kind of swarming around you.
Perfect.
And then, you know, I think we're going to do the cardiac arrest scene here now.
I think a backboard would be legit for CPR.
Right back, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, lift the patient up, slide it
This is
under.
like every dream I've had as a kid of being a rock star. I actually get to realize it in the context of actually doing good as a physician. So it's like both of my passions get to merge and express themselves in a way that I would never have dreamed 3 years ago. It's like an outrageous love that I feel being able to express this in the world, and being given the chance is just, it's amazing. What I've noticed when I'm expressing my story and my unique sort of gifts for, you know, whatever they are, is life takes on a different quality. You feel alive in a way that you really can't feel any other way. And only by sort of exploring that in my own self have I been able to finally reconnect with that. When you think about what your higher purpose is, and I always thought higher purpose was a bunch of hokey BS, because what's a higher purpose? You're making money, you take care of your kids, you retire. Now it's like, wow, to hear people tell me that, oh, just seeing this model inspires us to do it here in Austin or to do it here. It gives you a sense that you're deeply connected to everybody and everything else in a way that is so empowering that your daily stresses and anxieties and troubles and obstacles seem like they're not important at all, but serving this higher purpose is. When people would talk about their careers or their lives, the ones that were the most passionate and were loving what they did always aroused in me this unease and this, it was almost an anger or a jealousy. And I would see them and go, why is he so happy and fulfilled and doing what he loves to do? And I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but I feel empty. And on the other side of this sort of waking up and being who I am, suddenly I felt like, oh my God, that's me now. I'm the one who's happy. And then actually it's tinged with a bit of guilt, because I would look at my colleagues who were still struggling and feel like this outpouring of compassion because I was there. And if they could figure out what they could bring that is their unique sort of gift and express it with medicine, like, wouldn't that be amazing? If you're living somebody else's story and you've ultimately fooled yourself into thinking it's your story, it's akin to being asleep and dreaming through your whole life. And that dream rapidly evolves from a dream into a nightmare, and it manifests in your life. And so the idea that you would awaken and actually see who you really are, what was that passion that you had before all of this training and system happened? I think the first place to look is just internally and say, what is it that makes me happy to get up in the morning? What is it that if I could drop everything and do, I would do? Re-engage with what it is that gets them excited to get up in the morning and then go do it. And it took a lot. I was terrified to do that. And having done it now in retrospect, it seemed like the easiest decision ever, but it wasn't. It's the hardest thing you can do. It's the scariest thing because you have to make yourself vulnerable and you have to surrender to it. And that's terrifying. All my life I've been trained to worry about the future, to project into the future, to regret the past. And now for the first time, I'm so in the present moment that the fulfillment comes from what I'm able to do this second, right now.